Here's a question for you. When is a rule not a rule? When it's a Speedway rule, of course. But I bet you all knew that. The problems that Peterborough have had with Nicky P and Wolverhampton with Luke Becker would seem to be the same problem and therefore require the same solution. You would think, wouldn't you? Well, this is Speedway and nothing is allowed to be simple. The book, in my opinion, needs to be torn up and simplified. Please! Over to you, Phil Morris. Only in Speedway, indeed. In other news this week is a possible return for Speedway to Wembley and the actual return of Speedway to Workington. Good luck, the Comets. And good evening, everybody, to the Speedway Tavern.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How is everyone?
Good.
Fine.
Good.
I have a feeling we'll be talking a little bit tonight about the Luke Becker situation, shall we call it?
Yes, I think we will be. It's very unusual for Wolverhampton as a club to put that sort of statement out in the public domain. It was quite a surprise when I saw it. But
Quite a strong statement.
yeah, well, I've got it in front of me there, so if anybody hasn't seen it, I'll read it out to you. The management of Wolverhampton Speedway think it necessary to explain the facility position relating to the injured Luke Becker, currently third placed in our team averages on 7.11. The American is presently recovering from a broken leg sustained while racing. For such an absence, a facility applies automatically for a period up to a maximum of 28 days, at the end of which we can apply to the Speedway Control Board coordinator Neil Vatcher for an extension. However, in an effort to stop malpractice, further regulation deems that when a rider has been approved in a team's declared 1-7 at the start of the season, but due to unusual circumstances is not available, as is the case with Luke, a facility may be granted up to a maximum of 28 days at Mr Vatcher's sole discretion. You will note that no extension is possible, and Luke's 28-day facility option ran out last Monday, on Monday the 1st of May. Beyond then, no facility is available, with the absence now being covered by guest riders with an average of at least 25% lower than Luke's current of 5.33. On the other hand, had Luke ridden in just one Wolves fixture before being injured, we feel sure that an extension to the original 28 facility would have been granted, particularly since he has ridden in our previous 77 fixtures as a recognised member of the Wolverhampton setup, participating in our present practice session, rode here in Sam Masters' testimonial, and in any case is scheduled to be back before the end of the month. History, it seems, matters not. Now it seems more a matter that not that a club is suffering adversity as a result of a genuine injury, but when that injury was sustained, which is quite frankly ridiculous. So
A very, very strong statement indeed.
well, the situation with Peterborough, when you said there don't seem to be much difference, well, there is difference.
There is difference, yes.
Because effectively, Nicky Pedersen is
Hasn't
withholding his services because he said that he doesn't. He's done one corner and that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
Luke hasn't turned a wheel in a Wolverhampton race jacket this season. Like, as I know, he's obviously rode in Sam Masters' testimonial and in the practice as well. But it just, again, it always just seems this way of one rule for one rule for another. It just seems there just doesn't seem to be any joined up thinking.
It's effectively the same problem in the simplest sense of the problem, which is a rider that they've signed can't or won't, they can't use.
Yeah.
You can't use Luke Becker. They can't use Nicky P. They get a facility and an extension on the facility. You don't. That's...
Well, I should say later on in the statement, the club have strenuously cleared that it is not the fault of Neil Vatcher that he's sticking rigidly to the rules. It's the rules themselves that need revisiting. The sooner the better. Not for the first time, and around the edges tinkering with regulations has impacted adversely on a totally innocent victim, with Scunthorpe, Ipswich and Peterborough all grappling with similar problems for different reasons, and we're only a month into the season. Hurry back, Luke. In the meantime, we'll carry on looking for 5.33 guest riders who can fill that breach.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for them. We've all been there in one form or the other, but it just doesn't... I want to say there's been a few people on the different forums having a go at Neil Vatcher, and the one thing that Wolverhampton didn't do was blame Neil Vatcher.
Yeah.
Neil
has been on our show, of course, last year. So
yeah, and they have been very, very specific in targeting the silliness of the rules rather than and it feels like Neil Vatcher has his hands tied, except where's Phil Morris in all this?
Well, this is hopefully one of the things that Wiz is going to be looking at as he does his...
Because you would have thought if he is the CEO, as is his title, that he can turn around and say, this is silly, so let's just change it.
Well, I'd like to think come the end of the season that he'll have been given a brief to sort of report back to the BSPL and say, look, this is what we're doing right, this is what we're doing wrong, this is the things that you need to rip up and start again. And this is certainly one of them, because there's just... The rules are applied, but they're not applied consistently. For what he's really, as I know outside, there's slightly different circumstances between the two of them, but...
Well, we've got a few things coming up on the shout box if you want to go through them, Chris.
Okay, first of all, crikey, my screen has just gone off. The second I was about to say something, but it'll come back on now. Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening to Craig, Andrew, Rich, John Bird, Lawrence Rogers, Elliot, and loads of, I don't know, some old bloke that works up at Birmingham, I think it is. Right, okay. Craig's meet, Wembley Stadium in November, December, unless the COE of Wembley is expecting global warming to really ramp up in November to the point that we get good weather for Speedway. I can't see it. They better get building that roof on the stadium.
We will talk about that, obviously, at some point later in the show.
I mean, that's why I said it a little bit tongue-in-cheek, with a possible return and an actual return to Workington. But,
Neil Vatcher has done a few jobs in Speedway, mostly unsuccessfully.
Okay,
I think he's been successful in bringing through some of the younger riders.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been the coordinator of that. So.
You look at the situation we're in now with some of the new riders. It's not done a bad job there, has they?
Nice to have a Tuesday evening without the smell of sand and salt on my hands. Well, that's a bit personal.
Yes, we just really want to know that.
Okay. Luke will be back before the end of the month, says Craig Triplett. Craig Smee. Controversial comments here, maybe, but Kings Lynn meeting called off because of damaged pit gate caused by stocks, allegedly. The following day, Kings Lynn make a statement that they're struggling to sign riders. Seems a big coincidence that they were missing 2 riders ahead of that meeting.
I should point out that earlier today, it's interesting you mentioned that, because the Speedway Control Bureau have now launched an investigation into the reasons behind that call-off. The reason given for the postponement was significant damage to the stock car fence, including the pits gate, following a stock car meeting on Bank Holiday Monday, which could not be repaired in time for the Speedway meeting to take place.
So they're looking at that situation.
It does seem that strange that they made that decision, and then the following day they make another statement saying that they're struggling to sign riders.
Yeah, at least the lights were working this time.
Yeah.
Luke Becker's situation is a joke. 5.34 average. Peterborough get looked after once again. Ipswich got some issue with risk.
Got the same
issue with risk, sorry. Want to carry on?
Luke is very... Yeah, I'll take over for a bit if you like, give you a rest. Craig Triplett says Luke is a very determined young man and looking to return a week on Monday. Somebody, I should talk about that, and hopefully somebody out there will correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been mentioned that maybe they should sign somebody on a 28-day contract like Drummel, for instance. But the problem that they've got is that if he gets an average lower, then they can't put Luke Becker back in.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a gamble doing that. John Bird says, great to see in the press about Wembley, but 2 GPs in the UK wouldn't be good deep down. I don't know. Would it be good? Would the one...
As much as I think there's always the romantic from the old codgers like yourself who saw Speedway in Wembley. I mean, sadly, I'm not old enough to have ever seen.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
I should say I was looking at him, not you. So.
That's okay.
Fair enough, really.
But I mean, it's the romantic side of it would be great to see Speedway back in Wembley. But logically, is it?
What's interesting is for me is the first part of John Bird's comment. Yeah. It's great to see it in the press, and that is good.
It is good to see it in the press, although whether it'll get further than that. I mean,
it's just always good to see.
I think it's an events director that's made the comment on a Wembley podcast.
Right.
Now, whether this is a little bit of smoothing over because Wembley released that 100 Years of Legends photograph and didn't include one single Speedway rider on it.
Right.
They included the greyhounds on it, but not Speedway.
Really?
Whether there's a little bit of
How dare they?
whether there's a little bit of smoothing over from that is another thing. But I mean, it would be the cost would be astronomical. I think in getting Speedway back into Wembley for one meeting.
I'd like to know why Lawrence Rogers has shouted out James Wright. I mean, I was going to ask the question of Lawrence is when his 28-day grace period is finished and whether we're able to get an extension or indeed whether he'll be able to ride. So, come on, Lawrence.
Yep.
He's got his feet up today because there's no match tomorrow. Anyone got any ideas what we'll do on Thursday to replace Becker at Sheffield?
Well, I'm waiting for my phone to ring actually. Cause
Yeah.
it might be Chris asking me if I can spare a couple of hours or so.
Elliot says Birmingham have only a few more days left for the James Wright 28-day facility.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I knew, I guessed it was coming up. Rich Thomas says Wembley, pie in the sky. Maybe.
From a nostalgia side, it would be fantastic to see Speedway back there, but I just think I think there's a lot of, there's going to have to be a lot of money spent to make it happen, and for one meeting.
Yeah.
I suppose if you're going to do something like that, you could do it maybe.
Does it have to be GP? It could be World Cup.
Possible.
That would be another. The 100 Years of Legends photo also missed Rugby League. Do they get a new match?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't notice that. They missed Rugby League off as well, so.
Who knows? Oh, we've caught up.
We have. Yep. Quick. We're either quick or they're very slow.
We'll have a chat about what's going on at Wolverhampton because that's where you'll belong and the matches that they've had this week. Oh, well, that's finished then.
I know, yeah. Missed out on another trip to Bellevue yesterday, so.
They've run Speedway in July, maybe, but don't they usually have internationals or NFL there? They do, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the part of the problem. But, the way that Speedway is run on that level these days, they're very quick at getting tracks down and back up again. So, anyway, as somebody once said, pie in the sky at the moment.
The NFL, they get some crowds, don't they?
They do get some,
yeah. Show people.
Yeah. I mean, it's not my sort of thing, to be fair. But
Not on me, no, I can't stand it.
But if Speedway was getting them sort of crowds, the promoters would be rubbing their hands together, wouldn't they? So
yeah.
Yes,
surely they must have had big crowds for that sort of thing, though.
Speedway's had massive crowds over the years.
how many was at Wembley for the 81 final?
Oh, I think it was something like 90,000.
One of those was you, wasn't it? I think.
Yes,
so,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
And what about the Millennium at Cardiff? Is it? Do they get? They don't.
No, it's not. Well, it can't be full because the seats right at the front are far too close to the track, so they have to be covered up.
They have had big crowds.
They have. I think the biggest they've had was just under 50,000.
Oh, right, okay.
It's dropped in the last sort of couple of times it's been there. So
yeah, still a good crowd. That
You would hope that this year it'll be a big crowd, given that there's 3 Brits so far. Touchwood doing well.
Just fingers crossed this year they can get the track right because last year was not good at all.
It wasn't great.
And I'm a big advocate of Cardiff, but he couldn't defend it last year.
No, I mean there was problems with the actual shale, from what I understand, and I think that was related to the whole COVID issue. But do you remember that?
Yeah, unfortunately.
we do.
Those were the days. Right. So, okay, we've covered Wolverhampton then.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear about all of your matches that you've been to this week. I would particularly like to hear from anybody from Scunthorpe Redcar, I beg your pardon, about the match against Birmingham, which seems to have been quite a good match. And we put up on a really good show. Some really, really good signs at the moment. We still haven't won a match, though.
Need that win, don't they?
Absolutely,
Urgently.
got to have a win.
Get that win.
Talking of crowds, how have they been at Birmingham this year? I hope they are up.
Well, I'm afraid they weren't up against Scunthorpe. Got to be totally honest. But it was cold night.
Cold night. Scunthorpe had been there 2 weeks earlier. So
I wonder if any meetings are up this year on last year.
I think so. I think Wolverhampton have done well, haven't they?
But certainly did well the last meeting. But I think obviously a lot of that's tied in with the news that we've had. So.
Mike, how was the carrying of the bike with the rake last week? It was horrible. It was. I did not enjoy that. Neither did my back.
You don't like work, really?
No.
No.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the Brummie match against Scunthorpe last Wednesday. You was there.
Yes.
It was a good match, wasn't it?
It was a good match there. There was some decent racing.
Some interesting, shall we say, refereeing decisions.
Yep. Which I know certainly Lawrence Rogers didn't agree with, judging by he's standing there holding his arms out aloft. And,
pleading with the referee, but yeah. I mean, I can't make a comment on that that situation when I think it was it Jake Allen, I think, and Stefan Nielsen.
Yeah.
And Stefan Nielsen ended up on the floor after a really good tussle between the two. You have to say. A lot of the people that I spoke to after the match, including some people that were actually working that corner, said that Jake Allen was possibly a little bit naughty. I can't comment because I couldn't see it. I would love, I know BSN recorded it, if somebody can shove that race up, I would like to see that and make up my own mind. Elliot Hunt said he attended the red car meeting. Brummie's lads tried really hard. James Pearson was great at reserve. Sedgman was on maximum until the last heat. Botel and Zach Cook got plenty of points too to keep us in the meeting. We have to say, Alfie Botel's been a revelation this year.
That's got the makings of a good pairing, hasn't it? The Botel and Nick Morris pairing.
But he's, there was a lot of doubt, I think, surrounding his signing, and he's really been a revelation. I think.
I like Alfie Botel. I think he's a good little rider.
I think he's looked a lot more in control this year than I've seen before. So that's always good. I think if Nick Morris had scored a Nick Morris score
This is something we said.
I think if Nick Morris had scored a Nick Morris score at red car, we'd have won the match.
Yeah.
So he's had a not great night. I don't know whether he doesn't like red car. Somebody out there might be able to tell us on previous meetings. But James Pearson really starting to come together for him. Somebody on the Birmingham forum said they doubted he was going to get his 4-point average.
Yeah,
I think he's got a good chance of getting his 4-point average.
He's got a good chance of doing it at the moment. He's starting to. I think that experience that he got last year is starting to sort of reap the rewards now, because he knows most of the tracks now anyway. So,
and that one race where he joined, I think it was Alfie Botel again for a 5-1 after starting at the back.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start calling him James Smolinski after that race, because he found that what we might as well call the Smolinski corridor.
Yeah.
That Martin Smolinski used to use. It was really good to see. Loved it. So all that was missing was the result, really.
It looked like it was going to happen, didn't it? Because Scunthorpe got off to a really
they got to a very strong start, 6 points in front.
Yeah, then Birmingham Sunday went on a bit of a surge.
And we got it to 6
points at one point.
So it was a 12.12 turnaround.
Yeah, that's right. But it just sort of... You sort of sense once Scunthorpe began to chip away at it that they might just have a bit too much at the bottom end, and that 8-14 decision ultimately I think was the killer.
I think that was the killer. Yeah, I think it was. But it's getting close. Got to do it next time. Got to do it, Lawrence. Got to do it next time.
Yep.
You tell him.
Right. So that's. I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about any more about that. I'd love to know of any red car supporters what they thought of the meeting.
Yep. We also want to talk about the Premiership pairs as well, because that has now been changed from a 3-round series to a major one-off event, which will be staged at Leicester on the 29th of June. So
I like one-off events.
Yep.
Have they given any reason why?
I think it's been done. Well, the statement here is to say that it's Premiership CEO Phil Morris said it's been a difficult decision, but we feel it's the right one to protect the integrity of the league, and we ensure we remain on schedule to complete the regular Premiership League programme.
Right.
We've suffered badly in the opening 7 weeks of the season with more rain-offs than would normally be expected, and whilst we would not expect the weather to improve, there are already clubs with limited dates for rearrangements before the end of August. This move frees up the dates of May the 15th and August the 3rd for league matches to be rearranged, while maintaining the pairs competition, where we will be expecting clubs to field their strongest possible lineup.
That might be worth a little look at.
Yep, it's on a Thursday night, so could have done with that being a Saturday one, really, but
Yeah.
It's unlikely, I think,
But
at this stage. But
for me, I mean, Leicester, that's just a short hop, really.
Yep.
So I might go and see that. Depends how they price it, I suppose.
yeah.
Always the case. Right. We should before we talk about anything else, we seem to have a new Speedway Tavern going on here that you've been working. It looks different.
Well, I'll tell you. Well, the full story is that the cameras went down, so I basically had to strip everything back and start again. So that's really. I thought, I'll just freshen it up a little bit.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
I quite like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No problem.
I'll give you give you a biscuit later.
Random.
So I'm still hoping that Lawrence is going to come back with some news about James Wright and what the situation is on that. It's good to see him at the track on Wednesday, but it'd be even better to see him with his leg over a bike.
I wonder what you were going to say then for a minute.
Yeah.
I was worried.
Careful.
I'm sure he got his leg over.
Right, we've got a GP coming up.
We have. I wanted to talk first of all, of course,
Okay.
about Workington.
Yes, okay.
Which is a big positive news. A lot of work's gone in place up there to get their new track ready. Of course, it was a track anyway, but it's obviously been a lot of work, money spent on it to sort of bring it up to standard. And wish them all the best. They had a fantastic season the last year they rode in 2018. I think they won the treble and then closed down because of running costs. So it's a new start for them in the National League. I guess similar to what Birmingham did, of course, back in 2015. And it looks really positive. I've seen the photographs of the place. It looks a really nice setup though, right on the coast. Very, very. You can see out to sea from the track, and it's.
I might have a few people go down there.
Yeah, it's going to be a good place. Especially in the summer. For the. I mean, does it get hot up there in the north? I think it does.
I am not
Yeah.
not going down there. That route.
Yeah.
No, never.
Pete Clark says we don't want to see Lawrence on a bike.
Push bike,
But,
stabilisers.
Yeah, we do wish them well though. It's
Absolutely. It's great to see
clubs returning,
as opposed to
closing down,
going away.
Yeah, that's it. So
Talking of clubs going away, there seems to be better noises being made from Wolverhampton.
that's what I've heard. Yes, I'm obviously not heavily. Can't say that I'm being sort of kept informed day by day by the club, unfortunately. But
Why not? Why not? Don't they know who you are?
yeah, they know. That's why they don't keep me in touch with me because I'm on air probably. But no, I think they've already sort of identified a couple of places and sort of working with people. I think some of them have been ruled out, or I know I'm fairly certain that I've heard that one has definitely been ruled out. But I guess it's just a case of we'll probably know more maybe in a month or so, maybe a couple of months to find out what's happening. Whether that's going to involve finding a new site and then just sort of asking for a bit of leeway from Entain about maybe having another more year at Wembley while we get the place ready. Who knows? But I think certainly think CVS is in a much better place than it was when the announcement was made.
Yeah,
back in April.
That's good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lawrence Rogers has said that James is seeing Steve Williams, the physio, and assessing the shoulder, which is getting stronger every day. Had long talk with him today, so we should have news soon. Yes, please. I think there is a few matches we might have won if he'd been racing, given the form that he's been showing and the form he showed at the end of last year.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, Simon Corbett there. Will Jack Holder be missing next Monday for Sheffield as his Polish club Lublin has a league fixture? I hadn't seen that.
I mean, I guess it depends whether I very much because they have this squad system, don't they?
Yeah.
So
well, of course, it's obviously a rearranged fixture, so the Polish fixture would have been in the calendar first. So, although having said that, the Premiership Pairs meeting, it was supposed to be the Premiership Pairs meeting, which I would have thought Jack Holder would have ridden in.
Right.
As Sheffield's number one, so that's going to be one to look at, I think, and keep a bit of an interest on it. So
Is that the up to date one?
It is up,
I'll,
yes.
I'll get it up in a bit if you want. If you want to just carry on, and I'll get that ready. You're not going to look at it. No,
Okay,
not
I
gonna-
just did. Damn.
Damn you!
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about the GP
Yeah,
then.
the second one. I think we're all hoping for a better event time of it than we had in the first one in Croatia, which was obviously very badly affected by the weather. But the track in Warsaw has provided some very, very good racing in the past. It's probably one of the better one-off tracks. I've never understood why people call them man-made tracks, because they're all man-made.
All tracks are man-made.
yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, so hopefully, I mean, obviously Bartos smartly got off to I don't think he was at his best in the first round, but he did enough to win it in the
This
end.
is the way the new rules lean towards. So really, you just got to qualify and then give your best.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He's still the class act, isn't he?
Well, he's the man to beat at the end of the day. He's probably going to be. He's probably his biggest enemy. Is probably himself, complacency. But he's never struck me as the sort of fellow that would be complacent. The only real sort of charge he's had in the last few seasons, of course, was when Artem Blagurta was racing.
Yes.
Then managed to beat him to the World Championship, and it's a shame, really, that circumstances meant that we were robbed of what potentially could have been a really, really good, strong rivalry between two top riders.
Absolutely.
There's going to be challenges coming in throughout the season, hopefully for the British riders, because they all showed a lot of promise in the first Grand Prix.
Didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, so and it's going to be good. You know, it's always good when they go back to the big stadiums, really, particularly the ones where they can get the track right. And although there were problems last year at Warsaw, I think history suggests that we've had good racing there in the past on what's one of the newer temporary tracks. Yeah. So one man I think who'll be looking for better fortunes probably is Jason Doyle, because I think to all intents and purposes, to me, he had that final one last time out in Croatia. Just lost control going out of the bend and just went.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He'd completely won the start, and I think it would have been tough for Smarsley to have reeled him in, because he looked very, very fast, Doyley. I think he'll take a lot of encouragement from that, because I think a lot of people have looked at him as being one of these riders that has been a bit of a one-hit wonder. You know, wins one World Championship and then that's it. But he's still a class act. You know, his form in the British League has been exceptional for many years, and has been again this season for.
It feels as if he's got a little bit of focus back this year, a bit like Tyre.
A bit like Tyre, yeah. Yeah, I think he's keen to sort of, maybe show that. I mean, to be fair, had he not been for injuries, he would have won the World Championship the season before he did.
Absolutely.
Obviously he got
Just
sort
about to
of
say
robbed of
that,
that.
yeah.
So he could have been looking at a two-time World Champion, but I think he's more than good. He's still got the ability, I think, to go out and maybe push for another one. But he needs a bit of luck, and he didn't have luck on his side in Croatia, unfortunately.
Somebody said, whichever guest we have used for James Wright has done a good job. And Lawrence said, yes, Paco and Zach have been great guests. I have to say, Zach has really impressed me. Paco's been Paco. He was a little bit off form, I felt, last Wednesday.
He had a very good first race, didn't he? But the second race, not so good. So,
it happens.
And the one thing you can say about Paco is he's still very, very popular with the Birmingham fans.
And he's
he's a bit of a showman.
And he tries.
Yeah.
Always tries.
Everybody loves a trier.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a winner.
He's one of those riders that he's got time for everybody as well. He'll always speak to you in the pits. I mean, he speaks to me. So if he speaks to me, he'll speak to anybody. So.
Yeah. You're a Wolverhampton supporter. You think he'd spit on you or something. But anyway, Lawrence has been on a bike around Wolverhampton raising money for Gary Stead. Yeah. He reckons he's still going round there.
Oh, right. Okay. He must took the stabilisers off.
What did I hear somebody in the background saying that explains some of his decisions lately? What? No, that wasn't. I'm in trouble next Wednesday. He'll have forgot about it by next Wednesday. Yeah. Would the stadium at Swindon be viable for Wolves to use short term whilst they source a more permanent home?
Well, if Swindon can't get in there, then I don't think Wolves will.
I was going to say, what stadium?
It's too far out. I mean, Swindon to Wolverhampton's about 30, 40 miles, is it?
Wiltshire, yeah. It's got to be
I remember when Cradley had that season up at Stoke in '96. It was a 80-mile round home trip for home meetings. It didn't work.
No, it's not going to. So. It's never going to.
No. And there you go. We've caught up, ladies and gents.
Okay. I guess we also have a look a little bit at what went on at Kings Lynn. What the BSPL have said about what they're going to do.
Well, I've got the full statement in front of me. Following the postponement of the recent Kings Lynn v Ipswich Premiership fixture, the Speedway Control Bureau launched an investigation into the reasons behind the call-off. The meeting was scheduled to take place at the Adrian Flux Arena on Thursday, May the 4th, but was postponed on the afternoon of May the 3rd by the stadium owners, Norfolk Arena Limited. The reason given for the postponement was significant damage to the stock car fence, including the pit's gate, following a stock car meeting on Bank Holiday Monday, May the 1st, which could not be repaired in time for the Speedway meeting to take place. The SCB reviewed the circumstances of this postponement, having requested further information from Kings Lynn Speedway and Norfolk Arena Limited, with both parties complying with this investigation. Both Kings Lynn Speedway and Norfolk Arena Limited have been exonerated of any kind of improper conduct regarding the postponement of the fixture. A new date for the meeting will be communicated as soon as possible.
That's fairly straightforward and...
So they can do straightforward.
Exactly right.
Not very often, admittedly, but...
Brian, you was talking to me about this.
Yes.
Guest of the club at Perry Bar last Wednesday was Councillor Ian Ward, leader of Birmingham City Council, who thoroughly enjoyed his first ever viewing of Speedway. He filled in his programme without a single error. Well, I can't even do that. Yeah. So it seems we have made a conversion.
I was the man that was tasked with helping him out to do it, and I was sort of in my mind he'll probably do a couple of races and then get bored with it, but he managed to fill it perfectly well. You know, kept an eye to the score. To be honest, you can't really watch a Speedway meeting and not keep an eye to the score, can you? Because you just can't follow what's going on. But I think he enjoyed it.
He's a big sports fan, actually.
He's a big sports fan.
I believe he's a Birmingham City fan.
That's sort of.
I thought you said he was a sports fan.
That's put a bit of a damper on the events.
It's like the old Jasper Carrot thing, isn't it? I hate football. I support Birmingham City.
Hey-ho.
But no, I think he certainly enjoyed it. He was obviously, sort of asked to, he turned down the invite to go onto the centre green because I think he felt it was a bit too cold. He's obviously, if he does come back, and I'll get the impression he probably will, then maybe he'll come back when it's a bit warmer and maybe taking a couple of races on the centre green.
And Pete says you did scrub up well.
Oh, he must have got.
He got a white shirt on and everything. It was orange by the end of the night, but. Okay, shall we have a look at the Pearson?
Do we have to?
Yeah.
You still can't say it, can you?
No.
Nah.
In the league.
Okay. Well,
excuse me.
I'll try and get it a little bit bigger, said the Bishop's barmaid. Right then.
Well, you are actually level on points now.
Okay.
Level on points with who?
That's a big.
With each other.
Okay.
Oh right. Okay. But I'm ahead on what?
Because you've got your name starts with a B and he starts with an H, basically. Yeah.
Oh God, that's getting a bit scary, isn't it?
I've got a green one. I've got a couple of green ones in there.
Yeah.
Well,
should be
I'm celebrating.
I'll try and read the top 10. I think, is it Daniel Lynn?
Danielle Lynn, yeah, 47.
Bond, Andrew Garner, Ben Clifton, Bradley Gray,
Gordon Gambrill, Steve Morgan, Steve Morgan about 3 weeks ago was about 23rd, 24th. He's up to 7th now. So it shows how quickly you can turn around if you get a run of results. But none of us three are doing particularly well at the moment. Neither's our defending champion, although he sort of climbed a couple of places. But if he wants that third one in a row, he's going to have to.
He's going to have to up his game a bit.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, so he's letting everybody down. Ben Clifton.
No, just letting himself down, let's be honest.
Ben Clifton says, my fiancée is getting unfiancéed if she continues at
she's top. Yeah, she's top of the moment. He's fourth. So.
She'll have to let us know her secret.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
All of them.
Right, we're going to again try and whiz through these, so that Pete Clark, for instance, don't get too bored. Pete, you should join in. You should join in, and then you don't get bored.
Exactly.
Right, just a couple of things before we start.
Yes, okay.
When I did the original list on Saturday, that was before the Sheffield Wolves match was rearranged. So we are going to include that. I did actually put a note on the Facebook page to say if you hadn't put your predictions on for that one, please do, and they'll be taken in. And also, of course, there should have been a match tonight, which was Plymouth against Poole. That was rained off. It's now been rearranged for Friday, so the scores that you predicted last week, I will carry them over to this week. So we won't. Okay, so starting off.
Before you go, I just want to say, Graham Alford said, does anyone know about Jordan Stewart? Don't think he has raced after his crash at Birmingham. I think it was 2 years ago. Good rider. I don't know, but I'm putting that out there in case anybody wants to say anything.
And also regarding the tables, Ben Clifton says, interesting that 4 of the top 6 are Kent fans.
I think it's immaterial, man.
Okay,
Right, let's go.
Let's start off then. Tomorrow night in the National Development League, Oxford against Leicester.
I think it's your turn to start the things off, Matt. So who was it again, sorry?
Oxford against Leicester in the NDL.
Okay, so...
I've gone Leicester by 4 on that one.
I'll go Leicester by 6.
I'm going to say... I'm going to go for a draw. Dear, again.
Okay. Next one in the Premiership on Thursday, Sheffield against Wolves.
That one's up to me, isn't it?
That's going to be a match, isn't it?
Yep. If it wasn't so short notice, I would have gone to that one. I do enjoy my trips up to Sheffield.
I'll go Wolves by 4.
I'm going to say Sheffield by 6.
I've gone Sheffield by 10. It's going to be a big test, that one. Biggest test of the season.
Depends a lot on your guess, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's not go back there.
We can get for the 5.3 through. It's on a lower average than that.
Okay, the next match.
Next up, also in the Premiership, Leicester against Kings Lynn.
Gosh, we don't even know who's going to be riding for Leicester at this point, do we? I'm going to say, as for Kings Lynn, so I'm going to say Leicester by 20.
I've gone Leicester by 16.
I'll go in the middle, Leicester by 18.
Okay. Next up, Ipswich against Peterborough.
That's down to you, Matt.
Ipswich by 12.
I'll go Ipswich by 10.
I think Peterborough would like that at the moment.
I have to say they did ride well at Monmouth last week.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
they did ride very well.
I'm going to say Ipswich by 12.
Okay, next up in the Championship, Friday, Edinburgh against Redcar.
That's going to be an interesting match. Come on then, Chris.
Oh, sorry, what was it?
Wake up. Edinburgh versus Redcar.
Yeah.
I'll go Redcar by 4.
I will do the exact opposite and go Edinburgh by 4.
I've gone Redcar by 10.
Interesting.
Okay. Just to say, if you are listening and you fancy having a go, just join in. It's a bit of a laugh. We don't take it seriously because we're not that good.
Because we'd kill ourselves if we took it seriously.
Okay, next up, also in the BSN series, semi-final first leg, Scunthorpe against Glasgow. That'll be an interesting one.
Yeah. Scunthorpe by 6.
Scunthorpe by 10, I'm going for.
I'm going to say 10. I'll go Scunthorpe by... stick with it. Scunthorpe by 10.
Okay.
Lots of differences opinion on that.
Yep. NDL on Friday, Bellevue against Oxford.
Okay, and that's up to you, Matt.
Bellevue by 16.
I'll go Bellevue by 10.
Bellevue by 14.
Okay. Next up, good luck to everybody up there. Workington against Edinburgh.
Is that
That's
up to me?
that's to you, yeah.
Workington... No, Edinburgh by 6.
That's such a difficult one to predict, isn't it?
Yeah. Because they're not going to have any home... Well, they've done a lot of practice there, Workington, to be fair, but...
Practice isn't quite the same.
Yeah.
Look, I want Workington to win, so I'm going to say Workington by 8.
Yeah, I've gone Workington by 6. But we wish them well.
Yes,
Certainly wish them
absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
Okay, next up, also in the NDL on Sunday lunchtime, Kent against Berwick.
Who? Just for our friend, Mr. Clifton. Kent versus Berwick, and that's down to me. Oh, he's not going to like me, is he? Berwick have done really well this year so far.
Yeah, they have.
I'm going to say Berwick by 2.
I've gone Berwick by 12.
Interesting.
He's not going to like me at all. So.
I'll go Berwick by 4.
Okay. As soon as I saw Simon Corbett say Kent by 4, I knew it's got to be Berwick, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's rubbish, eh?
Yeah, well.
Okay,
He's lost his
next
mojo.
up in the NDL as well is Mildenhall against Oxford. And they've had a good start as well, Mildenhall.
Yeah, they have. It's your shout.
I've gone Mildenhall by 12.
I'll go Mildenhall by 14.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm the same, 14 to Mildenhall.
Okay. Then Monday, Wolves against Sheffield in the Premiership. Looking forward to that one.
That's up to you, Chris.
Isn't it? I'll stick with Wolves by 4.
Yeah, I'm going Wolves by 6.
I've gone Wolves by 4 as well. Okay, and last but by no means least, on Tuesday, while we're on there next week, Plymouth against Birmingham.
I'm going down to Plymouth next week, by the way. Did I tell you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going to get there on time, aren't I?
Well, the way you drive, you might.
It's at least a 4-hour trip, isn't it? At least.
Okay. Yeah, why you drive, yeah?
Plymouth versus Birmingham. Do you know what?
Don't say, because it won't happen.
I'm going to say Birmingham by 2. I just got this feeling that it's starting to come together.
I've actually gone with the same. I've got a feeling Birmingham might win that one.
Right, okay.
I'll go Plymouth by 16.
Well, you've been following Simon Corbett again.
No, I haven't. No.
Because that's exactly what he said.
He put that up after me. He's got to be in me.
That's we're going to be doing lots of updates from that as we go on next week, obviously.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. That's that.
Well done.
Pete said he doesn't get bored. He's just not very good at predictions. Have you seen
Where we are?
Where we are? Come on.
Jordan Stewart update. He's preparing for the Fink Desert Race, big enduro race in the Northern Territory.
Okay.
Yep.
So
I'm
it's
going
great.
to pretend I know all about that.
Yeah. I think it's big cars going very, very fast over a desert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just guessing. I don't know.
That's
All right.
what I would have guessed as
Yeah,
well.
what do I know? I know
That's
nothing.
what I would have guessed.
I know absolutely nothing.
So, Wolverhampton doing quite well.
Mm-hmm. Apart from the one problem we've got.
Birmingham, yeah. Whoops. Birmingham doing not so well, but showing good signs.
Yeah.
Be nice to see more success in the Midlands. Oxford, probably about the same as I was last year, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
So who are we
Yeah,
still?
just to reiterate there, John Bird's asked his Plymouth v Pool rearranged for this Friday. Yes,
Yes,
it is.
it
And
is.
those results that you predicted, scores you predicted last week will be carried over. So,
I mean, if you didn't predict any or you want to change it, I mean, there's no problem in them changing it, is there? Do they want to?
I thought we weren't allowing
we're not?
changes.
No changes.
Okay.
We've got to be strict this year.
Because you had last time we had people changing them 2 or 3 times, and in the end it became
Right.
So
No, it's got to be on the knee.
But if they haven't,
if you haven't put one on, yes,
yes, if you haven't made a prediction, then by all means make a prediction for
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it's worth waiting a bit, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because of injuries and the like.
we only say waiting. We don't mean 10 minutes after the meeting's finished.
Yeah.
So,
If we could do that, I think I'd do pretty well.
Yeah. Well, you probably wouldn't. You'd probably still get it wrong.
Hey ho. So are we still going with Bellevue doing well? Because
Yeah,
I think we sort of ruled them out a little bit in our predictions at the beginning of the year.
Well, we have, and certainly I was ruling them out after their performance at Monmouth a few weeks ago. But credit to them, they've really turned the tables. They've gone really well the last few weeks. They're top of the league at the moment.
Still top.
Yep.
Was that expected? No.
I don't think. Well, we certainly didn't pick them.
No, I thought they were a top 4 team, but probably wouldn't get further than the semi-finals. But as I said last week, for whatever people at Bellevue might think, they do have a home track advantage now. I think their riders do know the best lines to get around there. So
yeah, we've been called out, by the way. Rich Thomas. No GP predictions.
We don't usually do the GP predictions. We do for Cardiff, but that's
Well, we did last week.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We can still predict.
Let's go for it. Let's do it. We'll do it in the same order. You go first. Putting you right on the spot.
On the spot now, haven't
Yeah.
So. Come on, you'll have to give me a list.
No.
So I can just do a lucky dip.
Just do a lucky dip. You've got the computer there. You get your own list.
I'll go for a bit of a wild one. I'll go for Jason Doyle to win it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I will go for Bart Smoslick to finish second. And I'll go for Dan Bewley to finish third.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yep.
Particularly the Jason Doyle, because I was thinking along the same lines myself.
I think he's done well there in the past. So
I'll have the same, but the reverse.
So you're going to say Dan Bewley's going to win it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, then.
I'm going to say Bartek Smoslick,
yeah.
Jason Doyle,
Yeah.
Ty Woffenden.
Not too dissimilar, just one. Just obviously you've changed one Brit for another, but that's about it. So.
And I didn't. I had Smoslick winning because he just feels unbeatable to me at the moment.
I don't think he's won in Warsaw though. I'll be wrong, but I don't think he has. I'm sure there was somebody who'll put me right if he has.
Is there no chance of Ty winning it then, is it?
Oh, no, I said there's no chance.
No, I just won it before.
He's long overdue.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 years now since his last GP win. So
4 years.
it's quite some time.
Went on TV as well.
Yep. 2018 was his last title. So
Okay.
He does look quite focused this year. So
yeah.
we shall see.
Richard's gone first. Marslick, Lambert, Woofy.
Yeah, Lambert's not a bad call either. No, he looked pretty fast.
Simon's gone for Janowski, Schmarslick, Bewley.
Yeah.
That order. And John Burr's gone Freddie, Ty,
Doyle.
Doyle.
Yeah, you see, I did think about Freddie. I did.
He came into the right time, didn't he? Really, Freddie last time.
You can do that with the current format. That's the thing.
Okay, so who's your outsider?
Freddie.
I'd say Freddie actually about it. I'd like to say Magic Janoski as well, but he just seems to flatter to deceive at that level. He's tended to get off to very good starts of the season, then faded.
Can't maintain it, which is the important thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
One thing we do know is that we'll all get it wrong.
Yeah. There has been no Polish riders in any final at Warsaw since it moved there. Quite a remarkable stat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I might change my mind. I can't now. There's always, stats are made to be broken, as they say.
Yeah.
As they say.
Okay.
Right, well, I think we're coming up towards the end of the show because I think we've exhausted everything we wanted to talk about.
Just before we do end, I mean, I know we said a couple of weeks ago who'd been the surprise team then, but who would you think is a surprise package as of now?
Berwick.
Berwick have done well. Didn't quite do so well last week because home against Redcar. They got a big beating there. I mean, they won at Edinburgh quite comfortably. But they've had a good start. Scunthorpe have probably surprised me a little bit as well. I didn't, they've done well the last couple of seasons, but they've had two, one hard-fought win against Birmingham. I think the first one was fairly comfortable. The second one they had to work a lot harder for it, but they sort of dug deep and got over the line in the end. So I'd probably say Scunthorpe and Berwick in the Championship. In the Premiership, surprise packet really probably in the other sense is probably Ipswich. They haven't done quite as well as maybe a lot of people would have thought they had.
I had them surefire win, to be honest.
I think there's a lot of things with Kings Lynn where they're going to be dependent on their top two, sort of getting them over the line in the big heats.
So would you say they were the biggest disappointment?
Not the top two, but maybe a little bit of depth, lacking in depth, really.
John Bird says, what do you make to the Scunny team changes with Clegg coming in? Is that in place of
Thompson?
Thompson?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I mean, he
It was a bit, which seemed a bit harsh, didn't it, really? It was
scored 10 points at Birmingham.
Yeah.
Sort of won the match for them.
Yeah.
After the week before was... but anyway. Yeah. What do I make of it? I don't think it's necessarily an improvement.
No, I don't think it is. I think Max Clegg's sort of lost his way a little bit, hasn't he, in the last sort of couple of seasons of his career. Obviously, he had a good spell at Cradley. Had a year at Wolves. He never rode for Birmingham, did he?
No.
But
he did have an argument with the starting marshal.
I tend to think really with Max Clegg that he's sort of, again, another one that sort of looked promising at one stage, but just hasn't quite been able to maintain it. So
I'm not sure that's time will tell.
Yep.
Time will tell. Simon Corbett is Nicky at the end, pulled out again in the league fixture in Poland.
I don't think he's far off the end.
No,
which would be a sad way to end a glittering and often controversial career.
Yeah.
Okay, this week's fact or fiction.
Go on then.
In 1928, an experiment in northern Queensland had the bikes going the wrong way round. True or false?
I know the answer to that.
I don't.
I know. I'm not going to say because I want to see if anybody else out there does. But I have. Lawrence Rogers says yes. That was
Zane Kennedy. So yes, Zane
Clegg was
Kennedy.
in to replace Zane Kennedy.
Yeah.
Okay. Simon Corbett says that your fact is true. I'm just going to write down what
Okay.
I'm going to write.
You've got a couple of more minutes. You tell.
I'm going to write down
I think I've got another fact or fiction. But
on the bottom. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The bottom there.
Okay. Well, I've got another factual fiction, but I think this one's fiction. That is that you haven't looked at the YouTube comments.
Oh gosh, I've actually literally wrote that down here to say.
That's why I've said it, because
Yeah.
I noticed he'd written it down, so I can't claim the credit for it.
Well, I think they're probably way old now, aren't they, as well?
Okay,
Can you say
that is way old. I don't. I think that was.
okay. That's from earlier on in the program. They probably they won't have much relevance at the moment. So
I have to
Very
apologise.
yeah.
I have to apologise for Chris, who forgets YouTube every week, despite the fact that I've told him to put a great big piece of paper on.
my fault then.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course it is.
So has everybody had a go? Everybody thinks they know what it was.
Rich Thompson says it was done at Swindon once.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
I just for everybody to know, I'm saying it's true as well.
Okay, so you're saying it's true. There's quite a few people said it's true, but they haven't actually listened to what I've said properly. Because the answer is... it's completely false.
Say it again. What did we say?
It's completely false.
Yeah, okay, but what were you said we didn't listen to
okay. No, it was in 1936 in northern Queensland. I was making up this in my head.
Okay.
No, so I've got to remember what I said. So 1936 in an experiment in northern Queensland.
I mean, well done.
Yeah.
They went the wrong. They went the wrong. It has been done.
I know it's been done
has
because I
been
heard
done.
it.
Yeah.
I heard it years ago, but it wasn't that particular time or place.
Always tricky.
Someone
isn't
once,
it?
There you go.
someone once suggested to me that could make Speedway interesting by having two go around one way and two go around the other.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. So I'll do
I
another.
don't think it would.
Well, it'd certainly be.
Nobody would be watching, would they? They'd all be looking the other way as they approached each other.
You could do a figure of eight. Maybe.
Carl Fogarty suggested that when he was doing the analysis at the first Cardiff Grand Prix. He suggested a figure of eight. So,
Where?
which I think the others pundits all shook their nose.
Rich Thompson says in a bit of a huff, I think. Well, it did happen at Swindon.
Yes, I know it has happened. I know it has happened, but didn't that fact was what I gave? Was not a fact.
It wasn't a
It
fact.
was that. Okay, I'll give you another one next week. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not listening to anymore. Now I know that you lie.
It was a great poker face, though, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
That's good, yeah. And there we go.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining in tonight. It's been real. We'll see you next week when I will be a nervous wreck as Plymouth versus Birmingham takes place.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy your week of Speedway. Take care, everyone, and good luck to Workington.
Good night. Yep, good luck.
Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What's the news today? Have a drink.